Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday, the Leading Change episode, this week with Ali Asl. Hey Ali, welcome back.
Thank you, and hello everyone.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. That's an energizing hello. Thank you for that. All right. So we talk about change, Ali, today, and we want to hear a story of a change process that you were involved with. And as you go through the story, highlight for us the tips, the tools, the tricks, the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Sure. So this is a organization I was in for 9 months. Is because they ran out of money. But at the beginning, it was amazing. There were 40 developers. We went in. It was myself and another colleague, and we each took 20 team members. Obviously, that's a massive team for a Scrum team, and we each split them up to two teams. So the way we worked was we did a train. So I normally love going to a new organization and doing a couple of days of training, working out with the people, because in those couple of days of training that you do with those individuals, you work out their strengths, their weaknesses, the dynamic between the people, how they work. If you have the option, I always recommend, spend maybe a couple of days doing. You might include like fun activities, but like I have a script that I have for 2 days that we do lots of fun activities and work out, and then teach Scrum and Kanban where possible. So in this organization, we had the opportunity. We ran it, and we worked out which person would fit which team, and then we started. This is a brand new greenfield. There was no team set up before, and he took his side, I took my side. So we decided we're going to have a upstream Kanban board and a downstream Kanban. So for the people who don't know, upstream Kanban is the work that comes in to the teams that they do. So a product owner product manager would be using it heavily. I still use this, by the way, to this day. I found it really, really useful with that organization, and it worked really well because they had so many ideas. There's a thing called brain farts.
Plenty of those around.
Yes, which we had a column called brain farts. So in those brain farts, anyone who had an idea will come and put it up there. It could be a terrible idea, but we still put it there. So people's voices were heard, and then those brain farts get turned to ideas if they were good, and then we prototype it. We work it out. Is this does this make sense? Is this useful for our customer, for our end user? And the product owner would obviously decide. They prioritize. They talk to the person who came up with the idea, and then negotiate scope and what the work is going to be. And then obviously we'll come to our team board, and then our team board would be, we will pick up the items, we break it down. We estimate. At the time we started estimating, and eventually we started just looking at throughput and counting the number of tickets that goes through. And obviously that takes time, that takes work. The team has to get good at breaking cards down to a similar size, and they got to get good at it. And that's a contact sport. I always found coaching and Scrum Mastership is very, very hands-on, which I always get confused when coaches are not hands-on. And so how do you work with a team if you're just going to guide them from all the way back from your machine, from an email? No, you're going to be like near there, work with them. And so and then we'll have downstream Kanban. Downstream Kanban would be deployment, the stages that it takes to go live. So we had these boards, and it worked amazingly. Because everything was visual, everyone would see what's happening. We had our timeline, so we had what's going to be done in the next 3 months, and what's going to be done in the next 6 months, and what's going to be done in the next 9 months. But what would happen is 3 months we were 90% sure, 6 months we were like 60% sure, and then the 9 months would be like, we're 30% sure this is what's going to happen. Because obviously we're agile, things change, priorities change, the market changes.
So you ran the 2-day training, you set up the teams, you started organizing the work with this upstream and downstream Kanban, and then what next?
So we've identified our product owners. We identified the areas that we're going to be working on. Each team decided what area they want to work on collaboratively. They agreed, and then we picked it up, and then we ran with it. So we did the work. End of 2-week iteration, we showed it. What we did do is we had, instead of having one team showing just to one product owner, we did a company event where everybody came in from all teams, and they got to show each other as well as. I mean, this didn't mean that they didn't get feedback from the stakeholders, or they did that separately. But instead of waiting, they didn't wait till the end of the iteration to get that feedback. They would get that feedback constantly because they were constantly talking to the stakeholders and product owners. So what would happen is they would get together and they'll do a big show and tell, and and this really did amazing work. One, on our bellies because we ate so many donuts, and two, we had senior management that we've never even seen turn up. We had we had open plan organization, so everybody was sitting. Nobody had their own offices, but these people had their own offices on the top floor. They came down to look at what we've done. I mean, how often do you see somebody so high up come down and actually get involved in
absolutely. And one of the experiences that I have in all the organizations where we ended up organizing like this larger demo events, including inviting everybody in the organization, is exactly that these people who are in the upper offices and have offices and we don't see very often, actually they want to know, right? Because in many cases, these people only get like half a slide in somebody's presentation in a 3-hour meeting to know what's going on. And for them to actually see it, it makes them feel closer. Now, there is the risk that some of these people will want to control too much, and there is that risk, and we should be aware of it. But actually, that need and perhaps that desire for control very often comes from feeling left out, right? Like feeling that, okay, but I have no say in what the hell's going on in my organization. How is that possible? Right.
Yeah,
so
totally.
it's really important for those people as well, not just for the team, but also for those people to get direct access and direct visibility to what the teams are delivering.
Yes, funny you should mention that because that is actually the kind of feeling we had with our key stakeholder. But we had the product owner sitting and the product manager being in the same room. So as soon as they had suggestions, we said, "Oh, please talk to the product owner or the product manager."
Which
so
is
that
a
way,
great opportunity to educate
exactly,
how it
exactly.
goes.
Yes, and everyone in the room like, "Oh my god, he just talked to the the big boss," like he talks to us. It's like, yeah, because they want their things done. They want value. They paying us to deliver value, and they need to see that, and they want to be part of it because they're
And
part of the
that's
organization.
also a very big trust relationship that needs to be
Yes,
formed.
exactly. Yes, totally. You build that trust, you build that comfort, and you can talk to senior management. It's fine. They're there to help. They're not there to
So when you look at this story and you think about how the whole process went, what would you say was like the one moment where you felt, okay, this organization is really picking up. They are really adopting Agile and they are really benefiting from Agile. Like what did you see that told you that, okay, this is going in the right direction?
Yes. The one example that really stands out for me was we had a portfolio Kanban. So we had all the items that are coming and we're working on. And the aha moment for me was, the litmus test for me was when I saw is they were working on a product. They've been doing it for a couple of months and then they decide to scrap it. Most organizations, it was amazing. It took guts and it took, for them to actually say, look, we've spent this much money on it. I mean, each sprint cost us around 45K. And they've been doing it for 6 sprints. And then they said, okay, you know what? We don't need this. Take it off. We took it off. And we started working on more valuable items.
That is an unlocker of value because now these teams can be working on something else that really has an impact.
Yes. And it was amazing to see that because obviously they took it off. They had to go and talk to the senior management and explain to them why they're not going to be doing it because it's not the right thing for the customer. Because we used to get customers come in every week and show them what we've done, like the public outside. We pay them £50 for an hour. They'll come in, they'll look at our product, we'll videotape them, looking at their eyeballs, where they're looking at, where they're clicking. We got our real users involved all the time, and then we get constant feedback. And I think this is when I know when an organization is doing well, is when they listen to feedback and they actually do something about it. It gets to a stage where you're no longer building a product for yourself, but you're building it for your customer. And this is, I know your organization is good because when you actually talk to your customer, work out what they actually want, what the users want, and then decide, make your decisions that way. And the feedback came back. They didn't like it. They moved it out of the production. What that meant was, like you said, developers can continue working on things that customers do want, so they can continue delivering value. At the same time, it's like the minimum viable product, right? The concept. People abuse it all the time. They don't get what minimum viable
but
product
MVP is indeed the first experiment, right? Like if that doesn't work, scrap it, move on.
Exactly. You save yourself. There's no point continuing. Just because you spend $1 million doesn't mean you should spend another $5 million.
What do you mean? We have a plan.
Yeah, somebody signed it off 2 years ago. So yeah, it doesn't really, it takes real strength to push back and say, this is not what we should be. We're building the wrong thing. Thank you for your hard work, but this is not what we need. But we can still use some of the back end code, and you can still salvage some of them. It just means that what we're working on right now is no longer important.
Absolutely. Ali, that was a great story of change. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role, we'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.